with breaking news happening now. This is Wave 3 News.
Breaking at 6, clashes during protests last summer have led to a former LMPD officer pleading guilty in federal court of hitting a protester over the head. Welcome to Wave 3 News at 6. I'm John Bull. Shannon Kogan has the night off. Corey Evans here, a former LMPD officer, entered the federal building today knowing that he would risk serving time in federal prison. Wave 3 News troubleshooter Natalia Martinez has the details on what happened today.
Charges stem from nights of rioting. Fast forward a little more than a year, and the FBI gets a conviction. For the first time, a night of rioting leads to the conviction of an LMPD officer. Corey Evans pleaded guilty to a federal civil rights violation.
He served his country, he served his community, and he wanted to take responsibility for his actions.
The allegation that he'd struck a protester in the back of the head with a riot stick while the person was kneeling with their hands in the air, surrendering for an arrest. His attorney, Brian Butler, said there's more to the story.
From our end, we think there is a lot of mitigating circumstances.
Corey Evans was a 7-year veteran of the department. The civil rights violation is a felony with a maximum of up to 10 years in prison. The indictment stems from the riot starting in late May last year after the death of Breonna Taylor. The FBI's Public Corruption and Civil Rights Task Force picked up the case, but it's not the only one. A number of other officers are being investigated for potential civil rights violations too, including this case. When then Wave 3 News reporter Caitlin Rust and photographer James Dobson were shot with pepper balls by LMPD officer Christopher Dean. His case is still pending. As for Evans, who resigned, his sentencing is scheduled for November. Evans' attorney said that he pleaded guilty because they didn't want to risk going to trial in today's climate. His sentencing won't happen until November. Natalia Martinez, Wave 3 News.
A Louisville man accused of shooting 2 women, then pointing his gun at police, has been indicted by a federal grand jury. The man here on your screen, LaRon Weston, is charged with being a felon possessing a firearm. We were the first to bring you the body camera video here showing exactly what happened when he pointed that gun at police. He was tackled instead of shot. Police were chasing Weston after he allegedly shot 2 women in the parking lot of Cox's Smokers Outlet off Manslick Road. Now, closer look at what sparked all the discussion. The video shows Weston pointing a gun at one of the officers while another took him down, put him in handcuffs. This sparked a lot of discussion because use of force policy would have allowed police to shoot him. If convicted, faces a max penalty of no more than 10 years in prison. Monday, Baptist Health and Norton Healthcare said if you work in their facility, you're going to need to be vaccinated against COVID. Today, some Baptist Health employees are fighting this new policy. This week, some employees told Wave 3 News they think it makes sense, but today, other healthcare workers in Elizabethtown protested across the street from their employer, Baptist Health Hardin. A nurse working on the COVID ward says there are enough precautions already in place that should negate the need for mandatory vaccines.
It's not just an issue of get the vaccine or you're not being safe for these patients. There's more at play. There's more working to keep patients safe than just a simple vaccine.
We reached out to the hospital, got this statement. While we respect the staff's rights to express their opinions peacefully, we ultimately have the responsibility to protect the community members we are here to serve. Well, July brought a spike in COVID-19 cases, but also an uptick in vaccinations. It comes as state and city leaders have repeatedly asked people to get the shot. LouVax mobile clinics are continuing this week with opportunities to get the 3 different shot options. Wave 3 News reporter Olivia Russell went to one of those clinics today. It's now August. Are people showing up for these?
Well, John, we actually saw a steady flow of people walking in to get the shot, and the people we talked to said they weren't hesitant. It was all about timing for them.
A pinch in the arm and a sigh of relief.
I feel a lot safer.
People at the American Turkish Friendship Association were excited to get the shot, especially as COVID cases are quickly rising in Louisville and across the country.
You know, you read it all the time in the news and all these deaths and all the people getting cases, and it feels like it's getting worse, not better sometimes.
For some, they didn't wait because they were hesitant. They just didn't have time or access to the vaccine.
It's mostly because the school offered it now, so it was more easily accessible. I've been, busy with school and stuff, so it was easier this way to do it now.
For Kuala Estes, she was only eligible for the first shot on July 14th. Her 12th birthday.
Sort of a birthday present. I don't know, a painful present. Not that painful.
Many people at this clinic were getting their second doses of the Pfizer vaccine 3 weeks later. The first doses in July were part of an uptick in vaccines. It was the first rise in vaccination rates since May. Now, at least 58% of people in Louisville have gotten at least one dose. It comes at the right time, too, as the Delta variant is becoming dominant in Kentucky.
It's better than getting it, and you're gonna get higher symptoms and risks. So it's better for you. It's better for everyone around you.
For these students, they're happy to be vaccinated, especially as they head back to the classrooms.
Felt a lot comfortable, not having to worry about the virus and stuff.
Now, LouVac's mobile clinics continue this week. They'll be at places like the Louisville Zoo and Americana World Community Center. In the studio, Olivia Russell, Wave 3 News.
Starting on Friday, an executive order from the Floyd County Health Department will mandate masks for some Floyd County students. This applies to children in kindergarten through 6th grade. At indoor events where social distancing isn't possible, all grades will have to mask up. The executive order will last 31 days, and they say it may change. Once-in-a-lifetime discovery in J-Town. Police now on a cross-country search. All this after a man finds a package dumped on his driveway. Wave 3 News reporter Nick Pick talked to the man and tells us what he found.
Ray Perkins told me a friend stopped over Monday night. He told Perkins what looked like an old clock was dumped in his driveway. The two of them went to check it out.
Sometimes in life, there are moments when time seems to stand still. For Ray Perkins, that moment happened Monday.
When David came, I met him at the back door up here, and he says, "Man, there's something in your driveway."
Lying on the pavement, an old, broken clock. Inside it, fit like a glove, an urn.
It was just odd. You could see it was a broken box out there. We didn't even know it was a clock till we looked at it, and then we saw the remains inside it. Kind of an eerie feeling.
Eerie, but symbolic of a man's time and place on Earth. Perkins knew what he needed to do. Snapped a picture, called police, and started the process of reuniting remains with relatives.
If it was my family, I would want them back, and that's where they belong.
Turns out home is 1,800 miles away. J-Town police find Ronald Wright's wife and son in Casa Grande, Arizona.
We're very fortunate in this day and age with technology to be able to track people down through investigative processes, and usually a lot of these databases will give us known living relatives, which obviously helps as well.
Morris says the urn was in Kentucky because one of Wright's sons, who's now dead, was living in the area. As for how it ended up on Taylorsville Road, he's still not sure. But in no time, this timepiece will be back in Arizona, where it belongs.
It's important, to be respectful of people who have passed, and I know if it would in my family, that's what I would have hoped somebody would have done for me.
Moore says the police department plans to ship the clock out soon. He says if anyone knows how it ended up on Taylorsville Road, call J-Town Police. Live in the studio, Nick Picked, Wave 3 News.
Still ahead tonight, police are trying to understand why a man killed an Eastern Kentucky couple, staples in their community, and then tried to burn down the whole property. Louisville families in mourning tonight after a raging flash flood turned a normal family hike into a fight for their lives.
Terrible news there. What we're going to see in the weather is not much rain in the forecast, but an increasing amount of heat and humidity. We'll talk about the heat wave that's coming as 90s make their return to the 10-day earliest alert when we come back.